Hello, everyone. Today, I'm probably going to keep the stream rather short. I don't have too much new information to talk about, but I would like to give an update on how Jeffrey has been doing. To be honest, he has just been running the background of everything I've been doing this week, so I could very well be as surprised as you are to see what happens on the stream today. But I have been watching this specific starting environment for a while, and he has been a little adventurous in this environment. So we should be seeing some movement throughout the stream. But the problem with this whole situation is that the changes that Jeffrey has been making, or the AI has been making to Jeffrey, have not been substantial enough to stand out as a intelligent decision or a more intelligent decision than decisions that he has been making in the past. So what I'm having trouble with is I keep having to decide whether I want to continue this running or to step back, try to fix some stuff up, some ideas I've been thinking about, and to use this as a baseline for the first running and begin anew with a newer, hopefully better version of the AI. That's what I was hoping to do with the changes I was going to make to the AI in general to make it a second gear. Now, I have not finished those changes. A lot has come up. Monday was actually my birthday, so I had a lot going on for that. And so I have not been able to make those changes yet. And it's not something too difficult. I just need to work out the order in which I want to do things before I actually sit down and code it. But once I actually allot that time to go sit down and code it, it will pretty much write itself. But until then, there are some simple fixes I could make. So I originally, when I made this adapted version of the AI to work on a dynamic multi-environment situation, I removed the feature that would kill the second parent when the program was stuck, because I was figuring that the AI would not be learning fast enough to in each environment for it to become a problem. Now, the problem is that the AI isn't necessarily learning too fast, but it is learning about the same rate it would, but for each environment whenever it is in that environment. So it turns out that if I had that stuck feature in, the AI might be a little bit further along where it is now. Ideally, the stuck feature is not necessary if you run the program longer. But this becomes a problem when you can't run the program as much, because you have to think about each individual environment as its own program. So that becomes slightly problematic. But I have seen some improvements. So what my problem is that these improvements have been subtle, and so it's difficult to decide whether or not these improvements are actually something that is an intelligent decision to make, or if this is just something random that's happening every once in a while, and if that is something that will continue to only happen randomly every once in a while, or if it's something that will eventually propagate into all environments, if necessary. So these changes are what I've seen is that when Jeffrey will run out into no man's land, where he is now, a lot of times he'll start spinning like this and choose a new direction and then go forward again. And why this is a good decision is that some of the time, maybe not all of the time, but some of the time, that direction is back towards the light. So when he is out away from the light and runs out of battery, he has the random probability or a random chance to choose a direction to run all the way back to the light. Now, this is kind of it's not the best solution, but it does help in the process. So this is something that I've been interested to watch, and I'm curious to see if it'll happen in the stream. I wasn't exactly seeing it when I was watching before the stream, but I could have missed it. And there's also this problem of Jeffrey running into the wall. Now, I have considered the possibility of moving the starting point to a central location as opposed to a corner. What this would do would be that whichever direction Jeffrey took, he would not run into a wall immediately, and so he would go out of the light no matter what direction he chose. Now, this has its pros and cons versus what the current situation is. So if Jeffrey can choose any direction to go to get out of the light, then he has to choose the opposite of that direction to get back to the light. So the reason that this is hard is because then there's a infinite range of possibilities of directions that he has to take to get back to the light. Now, what's a benefit of the light being in a corner like this is that Jeffrey can then pinpoint the direction in the diagonal downwards, and he will eventually either hit the bottom wall, hit the side wall, or hit the light. So now this isn't a perfect solution because he could hit the wall and stop, but it still brings up a decent possibility that he'll go back into the light. So it's a question of whether I want it to be easier to get out of the light or easier to get into the light. And to be honest, I don't know that one's necessarily better than the other. So I think it's important that I keep the environment and the game itself the same for this baseline and only change the AI, because a better AI will be able to play either situations better. And if I change the environment, then I won't be able to compare. So it's important that I want to keep that variable specifically constant. So the feature that I am considering is the stuck feature. That would be fairly simple to add back in. I believe the code is even still there. I just commented it out so that it wouldn't go through that process. But I do think that it would speed up the situation. Now, there is also the idea that that evolution doesn't run very fast, and so I mean evolution and like on a grand scale, not just here. So I could just take the idea that this is going to take a long time and continue to run this, and that's the moral question that I'm fighting with. So I'm not quite certain whether or not I want to make those changes yet. What I might do is just continue to work on the large change to the AI with the second gear and continue to run Jeffrey just to see if anything happens. And that way we would have a very strong baseline, because like I've said in the past, I believe that these programs will work in an S-curve to where there is a maximum. They will continue to go up, but very, very slowly towards the end of their running. And so you can get an approximate best program or best set of traits. So what should end up happening is that as I let time go on, assuming that the time that I have let him run is long enough, he should hit a wall. Now, there's also the idea that with programs like this, if especially with the stuck feature in that removes the second parent, the program can drop down but then go up further. And so what's cool about that is if you think about it like the topographical map metaphor, the the AI can work itself up one hill and then move slightly down and search around that area and find a new hill to go up. So that's what the idea is with the stuck feature. So that can also make it can extend that S curve further up, but that itself should also have a maximum. And what it'll do when it gets to that maximum is stay there, drop down, come back up, drop down, come back up. And I have seen that with the ball drop program. So the ball drop program does benefit from the stuck feature, but then at some point, whenever it drops down, it just gets back up to the same point and never really improves itself in terms of intelligence. The score might go up slightly, but the intelligence stays about the same because it's reached close enough to a perfect program that to reach 100% perfect would take an extremely long amount of time, or it would have to get really lucky. So, and the problem with that is that I wouldn't know what a perfect program is, because what's beautiful about the AI is that you can give it a question and not know the answer, and the AI will start working on it. The AI will start working on that question and provide you and itself with an answer. But whether or not that answer is correct is a whole different story. So I don't think the goal for an AI is to create a correct answer. I think the goal for an AI like this is to get an answer that is practical and successful. So whether or not that answer is ever achieved in this project will be determined by the goals I've set. And okay, so we started to see a little bit of it. He turned and seemingly faced the light, but then when he hit a new situation, which I believe was the battery dying, he stopped. And I'm not sure why why he would have stopped, but that's something in terms of the decision-making process that could be read in the instinct reader. Now, I do think that I should make some changes to the instinct reader, or not to the instinct reader, but to the boss sample and the way it's handled, because currently the boss sample, when the boss program reads it, it deletes the sample so that when it goes the next time to read it, it doesn't read the same sample, which is smart because then it doesn't just sit there learning something after the driver program has been shut off. But the problem with that is that when I go to look what situation or what environment the driver program was in, I can't see because the boss program immediately deletes it. So, and it's not immediate, it's every cycle. So every time you see it say beep again, that means it went through, read the environment and deleted the sample. So I still could catch that environment, but there's ways that it could be saving the last few environments that the AI has been in. So that's something I might consider changing. That's not something that would necessarily require a new running. So that's something simple, but I need to start a whole checklist of these things. But overall, I have, like I said, I have seen some things that seem to be somewhat improvements from Jeffery here, but there hasn't necessarily been a gigantic leap. It's been more like minuscule little steps that seem like he's optimizing what he's doing right now, but not necessarily learning anything new. So That's my analysis, and I will let Jeffrey run here for a little bit longer just to make sure we've seen everything that's going on. But if I'm correct, there shouldn't be anything too new from what we've already seen on the stream in this stream today. So I will let him run, but in the meantime, I'll just mess around on guitar. And I want to thank you guys for watching if you are, or later on YouTube, anything. So I'm glad you came out to watch. I don't practice Santeria, I ain't got no crystal ball. Well, I had $1 million, but I'd spend it all if I could find that Hannah. I'd let Sancho that she's back. I'd pop a cap and Sancho and I'd slap her down. Alright, well, we've seen a couple cycles of life and death here for Jeffrey, and you can see that the problem of him shooting constantly still persists. Now, this has made it fairly difficult for him to survive long periods of time outside of the light. So, this is something that I don't know if that will ever be fixed. It may be that he will possibly learn some way to deal with his battery dying almost immediately, but I don't, that is, it's a very limiting trait, and so I don't know why that persists so much um, in almost every environment. But it seems that it has died down a little bit as to which environments will cause him to just constantly shoot. So that's one of the minor changes that I think has been an improvement. But other than that, I think we've seen everything we're going to see today. So I want to thank you for watching, and I will also I wanted to say that on Saturday, since it is actually, yeah. So on Saturday, I don't think I'm going to be able to stream, but I will try to stream Sunday night. So the this weekend's stream will not be on Saturday; it will be on Sunday. So just keep an eye out for that on social media, where however you keep up to date with how I when I stream, and I will be updating everyone on that very soon or whenever I figure out when I will be streaming. So I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you on Sunday.